Welcome to my channel, Ana Lana. Today I'm going to share with you this beautiful autumn sweater. If you like it, please give me a like and subscribe so I can show you more tutorials. El video en español está en la caja de descripción abajo. All my videos are in español and in English. Okay, so for this sweater I used a medium size yarn which asks for needles US size 9, which is 5.5 millimeters, but I used a little bigger needles, size 10.5, which is 6.5 millimeters. I like to use one or two sizes bigger so it gives more consistency to the sweater. Now we need size 7 needles and 2 markers and a hairpin and a tapestry needle. Okay, so this is a very easy sweater to make. The back is just a plain rectangle and the front, it has just a small design that I decided to put there. So bottom line is very easy. The yarn that I am using is size 4, but it's in the thicker side because it asks for number 9 needles, but I always like to use 1 or 2 numbers larger. Whatever yarn you use, my recommendation is for you to go up 1 or 2 sizes because the sweater will be softer, it will fall better. Alright, so just to see the measurements, the width is 61 centimeters or 24 inches. So imagine if we put this as double and then you put it around your body, it will be 122 centimeters or 48 inches. So putting it around your body, you will know how much room you have. And then you can decide if this is the correct size. So again, I use a larger number in needles. So I hope you like it. And if you decide to make it, I hope it turns out great. I really love it. I didn't follow any pattern. It was just a chain of experiments and it ended being a great piece for me. So let's begin. To start the back, we are going to begin with the elastic band with 71 points. So the elastic band will be 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, 1 knit until about 15 rows or 6 centimeters. So when we finish the elastic band, that's when we will start with the back, but we are going to increase 5 points in total. And so with a base of 71 points plus 5, we are going to end up with 76. So we are going to be knitting 15 points and then we are going to add 1. So that will be a total of 5 increases. So the way to increase it is going to be, we take the bottom point, the bottom stitch, and then we put it on the needle and then we knit it. Again, we are going to be knitting 15 and we are going to be increasing 1 point every 15 points. So let's do it again. So we are going to be taking the bottom stitch, but remember, don't make it to be this hole. You are going to twist it on the other side. Just make sure that it's not going to be a big space there. And then you just knit it and continue like that. It will be just row 1. And we are going to continue straight because the back is just a rectangle and we will knit until we end up with 21 inches tall. So the front is going to begin same way as we did the back. We are casting 71 points to make the elastic band. And the elastic band is going to be 1 purl, 1 knit. And we are going to be doing this until we end up with 6 centimeters or about 2.5 inches. So once we get our 6 centimeters, the 2.5 inches, we are going to start increasing again 5 points every 15 stitches. And it's the same process that we did the back. We are going to be knitting 15, and then we are going to be adding one, just taking the point from the base. And let me just show you. We are going just to be taking this stitch and putting it up, and we are going to be knitting it. Just make sure you don't leave a space there. And you are going to continue like that for another 15 points and then add one stitch. So this was row number 1. Then row number 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be knitted with the jersey stitch. Then on the 6th row, that's when we are going to be starting with the design. All right, so we are now going to be using the markers because we are going to leave room for our braid, and this is going to be like this. In the number 32 stitch, we are going to put the first marker. Then we count 12 in the middle, and then another marker. So that will be the space for our braid. 32 there, 32 there, and then 12 in the middle for the braid. And then we will be working again with the same thing, moving the markers up. So I'm going to show you how it works. This is the number 32 stitch. Okay, so we are getting to the number 32, and here it is. We are going to be moving up the marker. So we are going to be knitting, and then we know that is in there. So that's the number 32, is not part of the braid. I call this braid kind of like blurry, or is kind of like flat braid, because it doesn't have a contrast. It doesn't have a different stitch on the side that makes it look different. This actually kind of loses itself in the background because it doesn't have any stitch different on the side. It's all knit. So we are going to be working with the stitches. So this is the chandelier braid. So we are going to be taking the first 3 points, putting them back, and that way it gives the direction of the work. And then we are going to be knitting the 3 stitches that are still part of the needle. I do have a video showing the chandelier braid, so I am going to put it at the top. Okay, so we are knitting the 3 ones that are in the needle, and we are going to put back these 3 ones that we took with the hairpin. And that way, we are going to release them. Sometimes we have to push it a little bit. And now we are going to be knitting those 3 stitches that we put back. So this is our first twist for the braid. And again, everything is explained in the video that I'm putting at the top, and I'm going to leave it in the description box. So now take the other 3, and this time when you pull them out, we are going to put them towards us, at front. And then we are knitting 3. And put back those 3 into the needle, and now you are going to be knitting them. And then you just continue just knitting. Remember, the braids are going to be only done on the knitting side, on the right side. And continue. There are no different stitches. So if you don't want to use the marker, you can very well just do one purl, one different stitch before and after the braid, so you recognize the change. So we are going to continue this process. So we are going to be knitting 5 more rows, and on the 6th one, that's when we are going to do again the twist to do the braid. Okay, so just measuring how far I am in the front part. So I have 19 inches, which is equivalent to 48.5 centimeters. And we are going to be starting with the neck, the opening at the front. So I'm going to put markers and I'm going to count 20 points in the middle because I'm going to be closing those 20 points. Here on the sides, I'm going to have 28 points, and that will be my shoulders, and I will start making reductions. So we are going to start now. And I need to get to the marker, and that's when I'm going to start making my first closing, because I'm going to close 20 points. So the closing, I assume that everybody is familiar with it. We are going to knit and then pass one over. So we knit one, and the one before we take the ring and we pull it over. And again, you knit, you take the ring, and that will be the way to close them all. Now, this is my 32 on the other side, and this is the last one that I'm going to be closing. Now I'm ready to start with the shoulder and to start making reductions. So, okay, so I'm done with this, and I have now 28 in one side. We close 20, and then I have 28 on the other side. So I'm going to start making the reductions on this one. So the first one, slip it, and then number 2 and number 3, I'm going to knit them together, then purl all the way. Okay, so we just finished that row with the first reduction. So now we turn the work, and we are going to start knitting until we get almost to the end of this short row to make another reduction in the one before the last one. So we are going to be knitting, and now we are there, and in the number, so the 2 before the last one, we knit them together, and then the last one we knit it, and we are going to be done like that. Then we turn the work, and we are going to start. You see, we notice now the little curve because it start diminishing, it start reducing. So now we go with the row number 3, and we are here at the beginning of the curve. So we are going to be knitting together the 2 and the 3. And then, sorry, we purl together. And now, same thing, we repeat the process. And we are going to repeat the process towards the row number 4. And it's going to be again knitting all the stitches until we get to the 2 before the last one, and we are going to be knitting them together. So I guess you get the idea, and you can continue doing that until you end up with 15 stitches, and that will be the number that you end up with. And you will be measuring it, just making sure that is going to match the height of the back. Okay, so I got to the point that I end up with 15 rows, with 15 stitches, and perfect, 15. And I already compare it with the back, and I have exactly the same height, so I'm going just to close those 15 stitches, and basically I'm going to be done with this shoulder. So again, this is the repetition of how we close. We are going to be just knitting one, and we pass the first one over the second one. We knit and we pass the first one over the second one. And this is the way that we continue closing the shoulder. Well, I'm done with closing that shoulder. Now we are going to start with the other shoulder. So with our good friend, the crochet hook, we are going to pass through this yarn, and then we are going to make a knot just to ensure that it's not going to, and let's do another knot just in case the laundry machine does a number on the sweater. We don't want that. Okay, and then we are going to turn the work and start knitting. So in the first row, we are going just to take the number 2 and number 3 and knit it together. And then, same thing that we did in the other shoulder, we are going to continue knitting until the end, and then turn the work and start doing again the same thing. Okay, so finally we have the front and the back, and we are putting them together. We are joining them by the shoulder. So I like to do this facing the wrong side, and I'm going to start taking the little rings on each side and then just sewing them together. And we'll do this with both shoulders. It's just the shoulders. Okay, so we are going to start working on the sleeves. We are going to put the front and the back parallel, and we are going to measure until we get 12 inches, which is around 30 centimeters, and we are going to put a marker there. So we are going to start knitting the sleeve. It doesn't mean that the sleeve is going to end up being 12 inches or 30 centimeters wide. I will explain later, but definitely it's not going to be as wide. So I'm going to put the needle through in the same place where I put the marker, and I'm going just to try to bring the yarn over, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the next point. So I'm going to be putting the needle through each space on the sleeve. So here it goes. In each space I'm bringing the yarn over, and then I'm making the points over the needle, and I am going to end up counting the total points when I get to the top of the shoulder. So let's continue. So I'm going to start counting the points because I already got to the shoulder and I have 24 stitches. So I'm going to continue. Now that I know I have 24, I'm going to start making 24 down, pulling the yarn through each stitch, each space, right, that I have at the border. So in total, I'm going to have 48 points, 48 stitches, because each side has 24. Okay, I have been knitting straight, and now I want to measure just to see how long I've been doing it. So now I have 15 inches, which is 38 centimeters. So I think I'm okay. And on the shoulder, I have 5 inches, which is around 13 centimeters. The shoulder, we don't have a problem because we can always fix any problems with the collar. But with the sleeves, we are going to start making a reduction, because remember we have 48. We want to get to 35 points. Okay, so the first 3 or 4, I'm just going to knit them. Then I'm going to start making the reduction, taking 2 together, and then knitting 1, then knitting 2 together, and knitting 1, and I'm going to continue like that. Then when I get to the other side, I will be just knitting the 3 last points regular without reductions. The thing is, I will try just to make sure that I get 35. So 35 stitches with these kind of needles, because those are big needles and the yarn is thicker, so it will give me enough room. However, if you are not sure, you just keep trying it. After all, it's the end of the sleeve, so you can always just try it and do it again and redo it. Okay, so I am at the end, so I'll be changing needles. I'm going to be using now the size 7 or 4.5 millimeters needle. And I'm going to start doing the elastic band, and this is for the cuff. So I'm going to do 1 purl, 1 knit, and I'm going to continue like that until I have the length I want to have. So let me just measure it right now, and we have the 15 inches, 38 centimeters, and we are getting close to 18 inches, 46 centimeters. So that's about the length that I want to have. And let's now close. And we are going just to be finishing the sleeve, closing the cuff the usual way, passing one ring over the other. Okay. So once we finished, we just can continue to the next sleeve, and then we are basically just missing the collar. So now we can continue closing and putting together the sides finally, and that way we can see the shape of the sweater, and then continue with just finishing the collar. And the way of joining the sides together could be also just pulling the needle through the middle of the next stitch this way. Or it could be ring with ring. You just can experiment and see what is the best way for you. Okay, we got to the last part, the collar, and it's very easy with the straight needles. I already did this part, it's 44 points, that was the front, and now we are going to do the back. What we are going to do is just pull through the yarn through each hole, and let's try. So I do have a video on how to do a collar with the straight needles, and I will leave it in the description box. Okay, let's get our best friend, the crochet hook, to pull through this yarn. All right, so now that I have the yarn on the other side, I'm going to insert it with the needle, and I'm going to start pulling through the yarn through the spaces below. However, because again it's a large area, I'm going just to be skipping every other one once in a while. Here I'm doing it straight in the next hole, and now I'm going to skip one and do it in the other one and skip another one and pulling it through. It's just because it's kind of long, like I don't want it to be like a big collar. I want it to be a little bit like a mock collar. All right, so remember at the front we had 44. I can just try to do the same thing in the back, or a little bit less, so it gets a little bit narrower. All right, so I finished the two sides and now I'm going to put them together. So that's why I'm going to use my tapestry needle, and we are going to, I like to start always for the top of the sweater, at the end of the pieces. And I think it works to put it parallel and then do ring with ring, and perhaps it's the color, but it looks very neat. You hardly notice it. So it's matter of experiment. You can try different ways of joining the pieces until you get to be perfect. Well, I love this sweater, and this is the way that it's getting. Very nice. And I hope you like this tutorial. So if you do, please give me a like, because that way I will know that you like the video. And please subscribe so you get notifications of all my tutorials. So I hope to see you again in Ana Lana. Thank you.